duties, it's as easy as ABC. You just need to know that whatever waste that you are having, whether it's a sweet wrapper, it's a can of Coke, it's a plastic from a shopping mall, whatever, just know that whatever you are having, it must go into a waste bin. If you can just do that, everything, a bottle of whatever you are having, water, a cold drink, whatever you are having after using the wrapper or the container, just take it into a waste bin.
Our more challenge is on waste management, particularly on illegal dumping. Katu has grown up so quickly in the past few years, which has resulted in a lot of development in the area.
When we plan, we look at the number of households that we have, and then we plan according to the number of households. But unfortunately, due to the spiraling of people dumping on the corner sides of streets and open spaces, we realize that the cost actually that we plan for does not meet the services that we have to render due to people dumping on the street corners. So what it means is that our budget is always over and above what we are supposed to spend on waste. For example, we are required by law to charge for services that consumers are getting, or you as the residents are getting services from us, but that has to be based on the type of service and the quality of service that we give you. Unfortunately, with us here, looking at our environment, we realize that there's a lot of money that we have to spend on over and above the service that we have to provide. For example, collecting waste from the street corners, that actually was not supposed to be part of our budgeting system.
Development increased a lot of waste, found us not having a landfill site also because we were using the previous landfill site of Sishin Mine. But then they closed us out. We are using a landfill site in Dibeng.
When we look at solid waste, we're looking at different kinds. We're looking at plastics, we're looking at bottles, we're looking at papers, we're looking at garden refuse, we're looking at the refuse that comes from the kitchen. When we look into all those things that I mentioned, all of them, they decompose. Now, when you throw them at the street corners, due to decomposition, there is some sort of water that is released from those through the decomposition process that goes into the ground, and then that pollutes our water. Remember, in Gamagara, we are a water scarce area whereby we depend much on the underground water. So the more waste we put on the street corners, the more actually we affect our environment, and we also affect our water resources, that is underground water.
But our plea to the community at this point in time is to try and assist us in trying to reduce the illegal dumpings, because we don't have a problem as the municipality to take how many bags of refuse from your household. We don't have a limit in terms of how many bags we can take. Even if it's 5 bags of refuse bag, we are willing to take it, because we want to avoid the illegal dumpings where you got a lot of waste and you end up throwing it anywhere.
When you look at the rodents or the rats and the mice, they transfer diseases. We've got diseases of the skin called bubonic plague, whereby you'll start seeing people having little blisters on the skins, and that sometimes is caused by the rodents that are next to your households. Also, the rats, they enter into our premises, they eat our food, they transfer fleas, they transfer different types of insects that can cause diseases.
Not only Katu, but Olifantshoek, Dibeng, and Sesheng as well. We have spent millions of rands in removing waste from our townships, waste that was lying in the streets, but unfortunately, that work has been undone by people dumping again in the same areas that we have cleaned.
The more waste we put on the street corners actually is the more actually we affect our own health through contamination of the water underground, also contamination of the ground that we using for planting our food and so forth, and also the air that we breathe.
We've got a duty to protect the environment. It is a damaged environment. It is having an effect on climate change, the poisons that come from stuff that we throw that goes into the atmosphere.
Building rubble affects the environment because there are different kinds of chemicals that are being made that actually are being used when they manufacture cement and other stuff. So what they do is that they've got elements that they deposit into the ground because they stay there for a long time, and then the reaction from the sun and the water, so it contaminates the state of the environment. You find that is why most of the time you find that most of the soil, most of the water that we're drinking, you find that it is salty, you find that sometimes it does not taste good. It's because of the chemicals that comes from this rubble.
Most of the businesses are doing recycling on their own, but we want to go to a point where now communities must do it. Small recycling at your house, even taking the garden refuse together with organic food and begin to do compost in your house, which would reduce a lot of waste that goes to the landfill site. That will also reduce the cost because it is very expensive when we have to take a lot of waste to the landfill site.
Let us try to recycle and make sure that we reduce the amount of waste that we take into the landfill site. At the same time as when you recycle, you should know that you are also creating some income for yourself because you are also assisting us, you are also assisting the environment, you are also assisting your community to minimize the amount of waste that is going to the landfill site.
If we can try to reuse, recycle before we can dispose, that's what we encourage the communities to do.
Considering the fact that Gamagara, it is around the mining town, but now as Gamagara, we are looking at having a town that can sustain itself outside the mining environment. Should all the mine closes up, the town should be able to sustain itself and progress further than that. Now, one of the fundamental things is that when you want the town to sustain itself, you have to get investors to come and invest in your area. One of the issues that they look at is the clean and safe environment. The moment when the environment is not clean, we will have a problem of getting more investors into our area. Remember, investors, when they come to the area, they give us jobs, they give us opportunities to grow. So now, the moment the town is dirty, it means that people won't come to invest, and then if they can't come to invest, it means that the town won't grow as we expect it, and then it will also affect the job creation, the local economic development, and other factors that might need you to take part in.
Starting even from the schools where children know how to separate the waste, to know that this is the waste that is thrown away, this is the waste that is reusable, and this is what needs to go to the landfill sites.
Please do not dump on the street corners. Please do not allow anyone to dump on the street corner because it is your responsibility. We have established a bylaw on waste that actually, from now on, if ever we can find anyone dumping, you should just know that the might of that law will apply, meaning that there will be a fine or even an imprisonment that will take its course, because this is the law that says that polluter must pay.
As a municipality, we've got a responsibility to ensure that the environment in which our people are staying is clean and healthy. But that can only happen with the assistance of the community. We can put in millions of rands, but if our community is not with us in the battle, then the battle is lost. And we believe that we want to work together. We want to send a message to say, together we can make it. Together we can keep Gamagara clean.
Ons het twee doelstellings wat ons na moet kyk. Die eerste ene is ons omgewingsverantwoordelikheid wat elke munisipaliteit behoort na te streef. Die ander gedeelte is die finansiële implikasies. Ons munisipaliteit wat geweldig gegroei het die laaste ruk. So ons vullis het ons baie vinnig ingaan, het geweldig vinnig vermeerder. So as ons gaan kyk nasionaal, het ons die doelwitte wat gestel is om vullis te verminder. En dit sluit dan nou in die doelwit van 25% teen Desember 2016. Van die huiseienaar verwag ons dat hulle moet gaan en soos 'n deurskynende plastieksak koop en dan sit hy al sy herwinbare vullis daarin. Dit sluit dan in jou papier, plastiek, glas, al daardie goed. Mense nogal verbaas is hoeveel items is daar wat herwin kan word. Die aanvaarbare norm is wanneer jy herwin, gaan jy 2/3 van jou vullis wat jy normaalweg gegenereer het, gaan dan nou in jou herwinbare sak gaan. As ons kyk na die huishoudings, gaan daar nie 'n direkte finansiële voordeel vir hulle inwees nie. Die voordeel gaan langtermyn wees. As ons byvoorbeeld kyk na die vullis verwydering wat jy die munisipaliteit op die uiteinde net 1/3 gaan verwyder, dan beteken dit dat my voertuig wat normaalweg, kom ons sê argumentshalwe 20 strate kon leeggemaak het, gaan nou 60 strate kan doen. So daardie geld kan ons dan spaar en dit gaan ook beteken ons kan ons vloot langer laat loop. Die herwinningsprojek wat ons begin het, die besighede hardloop nou omtrent al die jaar wat hulle gegaan het en selfkontrakteurs gekry het. Daar is natuurlik nou nasionaal ook wat gebeur dat die verskaffers versoek van sy verspreiders om sy herwinde materiaal terug te stuur saam met die voertuig wat sy voorraad aflewer. Ten opsigte van die publiek, mense is nogal verbaas, mense dink partykeer dat die publiek nog nie reg is vir so iets nie. En dit wat jy van die publiek, die terugvoering wat jy kry as jy met die ouens gaan gesels om te sê, nou gaan ons begin met die herwinning, is die antwoord elke keer, maar ons wag nou al hoe lank daarvoor. So die projek wat ons nou begin het met die herwinning, het ons eintlik op heelwat fronte begin. Die kantore, dat die mense byvoorbeeld deur die recycler, die herwinnaar, kry hulle houers waaraan hulle kantoorpapier kan sit. Dit maak al klaar 'n groot verskil. En ons sal verbaas is hoeveel papier word gegenereer in munisipaliteite. Ons is nogal geneig om nie baie op ons laptop te lees wat aangaan nie. Ons wil hom uitprint want ons wil hom lees. So daai aksies in die gang, ons probeer al die ouens wat kantore het en winkels dat hulle ook van hierdie houers kry om hulle papier te herwin. En dan die aksie wat ons nou het is ook, ons het van die supermarkte betrokke gekry om vir ons van die leaflets, die inligtingstukkies te borg. Die kostes om vullis te verwyder is kostes wat baie vinnig weghardloop as jy hom nie in beheer hou nie. Alles afhangende natuurlik van waar jou grond is. Baie van die munisipaliteite is geneig om te dink, dis 'n stuk grond wat ek daar eenkant gehad het, wat ek gebruik het. Maar ons moet gaan sit en dink, wat kos daai grond as ek hom moes gaan koop het? En daai kostes moet bereken word. Die ander gedeelte is die vervoerkostes. Ons weet almal waar teen voertuie nou verkoop. Net om 'n idee te gee, 20 kubieke meter kompakteerder kos nou so 2,4 miljoen rand. En dit is waar die publiek partykeer dink die koste stop. Maar daai selfde voertuig kos die raad 1,8 miljoen rand 'n jaar om hom te onderhou. Dit is sy loopkoste 'n jaar. So werk daardie kostes uit, dan begin mense te besef wat dit kos vir hierdie vullistrok wat daar verby jou huis loop. Wat kos hy jou? Hy is nie goedkoop nie. En daarom is dit noodsaaklik dat ons moet kyk om die volume wat ons wegvat te verminder, want dis waar die besparing vir die publiek kan aankom.